Hello you absolute legends, welcome back to the channel. It's John here on a beautiful day in Lincolnshire. It's going to be an absolute scorcher today, I think. Dad's here and we are with the Toyota MR2. It's the one I've just bought. I brought it round and you saw earlier in the video I brought it round and it sounds like a bit of a tractor. There's a few issues with the exhaust system and also it hasn't got an MOT, so Dad and I are going to give it a bit of a once over before the MOT. In this video then, part one of working on the car. We're going to have a full day at it. We'll see how much we can get done in today's video, ready for the MOT. Fingers crossed we don't discover too many issues and see what we can get done today on the car. So I'm round at Dad's. Dad's here, showing off his rippled physique after spending months in the gym. Not bad for nearly 70. He's getting in it. Hang on a minute, you're getting in my car? Hang on a minute, it's not for old blokes.
Jeez, mate.
What do you reckon to that?
I like it, mate, yeah.
Well, can you fix all the problems on it now, please?
I like it, mate. No, I'm going to take him home to the seaside in it.
Oh, she won't get in that.
That's true. We'll have a booster seat for him. Yeah, take it to the seaside.
Will it start? Whoa! There you are.
I've got one of them exhausts I can fly past my house late at night making a noise. Can we make it so it goes bang, 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 bang as well? On the overrun.
There you go. What do you reckon?
Comfy.
It's alright, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's yours for £3,000.
Can we pay on instalments?
I think I owe you more than £3,000.
That's the button we should have been pressing. Look.
Oh, what's that?
No, but if it was deadlocked, it still wouldn't.
Oh, yeah. We'll talk about that in another video.
Let's deadlock it.
Ah, there we go. Does it deadlock? Yeah. There we go. So, full disclosure, I lost the key. So we've had a bit of a panic today. I've lost the key. I lost it at 7 o'clock this morning. I found the key at 5 o'clock. Well, actually, no, that's a dirty lie. This man found the key. It was under my refrigerator. We'll talk about that in another video. But yeah, the exhaust is blowing. It does sound like a bit of a tractor when you take it down the road. And because it's been stood for such a long time, the discs are a little bit bindy. But they will wear off with time. Where are you taking it? You can just hear them. You can just hear the binding because... No, they're not binding bad at all. You can just hear them when we're coming down the road. Yeah. Well, it needs a little bit of TLC. Is that something you can do?
No, not about these. Smart cars.
Smart cars, yeah. So this is the first look. What are you giving me advice?
There's a little reserve travel.
Oh, don't like that. So the car's got no MOT. When I bought it, it's had a ticket. But yeah.
Seats would be a bit hot on a hot day.
Well, let's get your first opinion then.
I want it.
Well, you can have it.
I want it.
You've got to fix it.
I want it. I want it. I want it.
If you want it, you can have it, mate.
I should look silly old sausage in this, shouldn't I?
Well, you'd look worse in a Porsche 944.
That post boxed.
Oh well. What do you do? What's going on in the smart car workshop?
DIY, mate.
What's this? This is someone's fixing a BMW in here. Anyway, so that's Dad's first impression. He's gonna keep us updated with what's going on with the exhaust and the car later on in the video. Hang on a minute, it's all going on here now. Some bad times. My mum's in the car now. What do you reckon to that?
It's too low.
Too low for you. You can't see you and Dad heading off down to Hunstanton in that.
No, because I fell in. It's like laying in bed.
Oh, you'll be falling asleep. There you go. That's it. I've lost the car. Mum and Dad have commandeered it. You've got the key. Yeah, we've had a problem with that today.
I'll be going under the lorries.
There you go.
No, it's too low, John.
Mum's first appearance. Oh yeah, well you don't want to look in there. Mother, I need you to do me a favour then.
What's that?
I need you to open the glove box. Can you reach? And in, at the top right is a little flat knob that's got a picture of a car on it. Above you.
Pull that bit.
That's it. Pull that. There you go. You'll be thrilled with the amount of space under here.
Was that the boot?
This is the boot. Can you get it?
Challenge me. Look like being beaten, Lion. Ah, right. So then we're looking there, do we?
So put your peg up.
Oh, I see.
You've got a prop. This is your boot space. Whoa!
Some daft buggers put a wheel in there.
You're not getting much in there.
It's not, is it? It's worse than a blooming Mark 1, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's not much space in it at all.
Good lord.
But behind the seats are cubby holes. Again, you can get a toolkit in there.
That's worse than a Mark 1.
Yeah.
What's all in here then?
Well, that's what I want to know, what's all under there, because I think Toyota's missed a trick here. Because there's a lot of dead space, I think, here.
There will be tons more.
Day 2 of Toyota MR2 fettling. This is actually Dad's first look at it properly prior to an MOT. So he's going to jack it up. We're going to look at that exhaust. We're going to look at a few other issues and see just how bad it is. But we've just started it up. It does sound like a tractor. There's definitely a leak in that exhaust somewhere, quite a big one. Hopefully it's just not fitted properly, as opposed to there being a massive hole in it. So we shall soon find out. So,
When it was first started, I must have mentioned.
So the first port of call is jack her up, and the issue you've got is, because a lot of it's plastic under tray, where do you jack it up? So we've used the 4-post lift section on the sill, which I don't really like to use. We've spread that out with a bit of wood, just so we're not going to crunch that sill. Dad's getting the axle stands under, and then we'll have a look at what's going on. Right, so I'm under the car. There's not much space. I can see under the car. It's all plastic trays, as we can see. So the first port of call is to get this tray off, I must admit. It should come off, and I can see the issue with the exhaust straight away. It's blowing rotten. I would expect that's probably what's causing the blowing. We shall have a look in a minute. There's a little bit of rust on this arm as well. It's quite rusty under here, to be honest with you. But nothing I'm panicking about. More plastic trim now coming off. Dad's diagnosing the problem. We've not found the hole yet. I thought I'd found the hole. I haven't. I've just found some rust. Dad's on the case. Well, in the most unflattering video I think I've ever taken, I am underneath the MR2. Let's have a look what we can find. So I've now taken off all the under trays, which are here, and we can actually see underneath the car now. So what have we got? We've got the sump plug and the sump. Looking good, to be honest with you. No major issues under there. There's a little bit of this, I don't know what you'd call it. Just dirt, I suppose, maybe, and this ferrous oxide stuff on the engine block. Oil filter, there's a little bit of an oil leak from the filter, but no major issues. And actually, under here, the chassis is nice and solid. There's no major issues under there. There's a little bit of rust here that you can see, but there's no big holes. It's nice and solid. This bracket's rusty, but that's fine. It's looking all good. It's looking all good. Axles are looking good. Brakes are looking fine. They need to clean off. Drive shaft's looking good. I think this is going to be the issue. I think there's a hole somewhere between the cat and this flexi. I think that's what's going to be blowing. So we'll have a look at this. I think this has got to come out. This heat shield will come off. We'll have a look at that. Clean that all up. But engine mount's looking good. Up into the bay here. Looking fine. That's all the relays and bits and pieces. They really are a peg to work on though. When you're laid on your back and you're 20 stone and you're 6'4". But considering the age of the car, I would suggest that's not too bad under here. We've broke a couple of scrivets getting that plastic under tray off. There's Dad, look, hello. I thought he was putting the kettle on.
put the kettle on again, doing some other work.
Right. So far, so good. I've brewed up the tea. Dad is not weird. He's limited edition, and I'm apparently a world-class husband. I think Mrs. John Coupland would probably argue with that I'm a probably terrible, stress-inducing husband. Dad's here. He's taking off. What are you taking off?
Taking the cats off.
Taking the cats off. We've had to resort to this inferior product because we've run out of...
Oh, Dad's got.
I know, we've run out of Bulldog BDX, so we're having to resort to the WD-40, which...
Somebody keeps all the Bulldog for himself.
Dad's saying somebody keeps all the Bulldog for himself. Oh, well, you need to get onto the Bulldog team. So cat's coming off, exhaust is coming off, and I think we're probably just going to see where there's a hole and probably refit it properly, because I think there's a big problem somewhere. Blooming well is. Let's have a look from the top, see what we can see. What can we see? Anything? No, not really. But we'll have diagnosed the problem in about 10 minutes. Next port of call is to get the wheels off. Dad's still working on the getting the exhaust. Well, I say working. He's having a well-deserved cup of tea break. So I'm going to take the wheels off. They need looking at anyway. So that is a jobbed, and it's going to give us some more access to where we need to be. One wheel off. These are the wheel nuts. They're a little bit corroded, especially this locking wheel nut. Top Coupland tip. Put your wheel nuts back on the studs so you don't lose them while you're not using, or while you haven't got your wheel on the car. Where's my wheel nuts? Oh, there they are. They're on the studs. It gives me a chance to look at the brake discs. They're not too bad. They're rusty. They could do with a wire brush off, but actually they're not pitted, they're not scored. They're not too bad actually. And the brake pads, well, the brake pads are all right as well. Just needs a good old wire brush off. These calipers are looking good. They've been either painted at some point or haven't had much wear. Obviously this needs wire brushing off, but this side not looking too bad. So wheels themselves are in really good condition. They're dirty because obviously the brakes have been binding a little bit, but they're in really good condition. There's no chips or knocks or curbing on the back wheels at least. One thing we have got to tackle are these, which are the bane of mine and Dad's life. If you haven't seen the video of Dad removing these, we've got a little way of dealing with them, which is basically cutting them off, but these have welded themselves to the thread on the valve. But yeah, wheels are off. And whilst the mudguard's off, I'm going to give it a scrub. Dad's removing oxygen sensors. Right, so we've got the catalytic converter off. I say we, Dad has got the catalytic converter off. And we found out where it's blowing from. It's blowing from, well, you pointed out, but I can't see.
Somewhere just there.
Yeah, you can see the mucky mark, look, where it's coming out of. That's where it's going to be blowing, that flexi part. Repairable? Yeah. Maybe. It might need a new part. Might need some new flexi welding in. We shall soon find out. But that is the issue. That's why it was blowing. Let's take a look. We can see under here now, this is the back box, and it's come off of there, and it's on some pegs, and it's a bit of a nuisance to fit, to be honest with you. I'm not sure if this is stainless steel or not. Doesn't look it, does it? But that's going to be something we need to repair. Oh, he's got his workmate out already. Hang on, there's a gasket here. See, that's all.
Yeah, but it wasn't blowing from
damaged.
them. I expected it was blowing from them, but it's not.
But it's not. Right, fine. So that's off. That's going to be the issue. Can you play this instrument? What you got there? White raspberries?
No, yellow.
Yellow raspberries. Let's try one then. Have you tried one yet?
Yes, check it inside.
Oh yeah, make sure there's no maggots. Anything in there? Yellow raspberry. Doesn't taste of yellow. What we got? We got another raspberry here. Look, red raspberry, proper raspberry. No to yellow raspberries. Right, so Dad's going to have a dig at this to see where the issue is. Behind this flexi. Oh, right. Oh, that's a good idea. Yes, stick a light down it in the dark and see if we can see it. Good idea. Let's go do that. I'm coming. I'm following. MR2 yoga. Look how low that is. Shall I shut this door? Maybe. Let's shut the door. Let's shut the door. Goodbye. Can you see anything? Ah, yeah, I can.
Can you?
Just there.
Ah.
At the bottom there.
Hang on. Oh,
There it is.
There's daylight shining through just here somewhere.
There's the leak. It's coming through here. Right at the bottom. Right at the bottom there, look.
There's quite a big crack in it, actually.
We can sort that out. Well, I say we. Good. Let me hold it on the top and you can see. You'll be able to see where it is.
It's better like this, actually, dude.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, you can see the issue. It's, as I say, it's right down here.
It's
Right down there. There it is, look. Right there.
I can't get my flipping head in to see.
Well, we found the source then, using Dad's great idea of taking a light into the garage. It's in here. The weld has failed. So we've got to dig all this wire mesh away on the flexi and weld that up. Now, what's the purpose of that mesh, that wire mesh?
No idea, mate. It must strengthen it, wouldn't it? Protect it.
But it's not actually flexible here, is it? So there is like a metal piece behind here.
There's a convolute.
Like a metal
piece.
collet. But it's not just this wire, is it?
It is slightly flexible.
Yeah. But that wire's not structural.
No.
Not the end of the world for us to cut a bit off anyway. So that might have, hopefully, found the issue. So here's the theory, because this was quite a pain to take off, because this, when it sits on the pegs, is a bit of a nuisance. Dad's theory is that somebody at some point in the past has tried to service the car, because this is welded to the here, but this is just crimped in, this part here, and we think that somebody has tried to get it off and has been a bit ram-arse, as we'd say in Lincolnshire, and has pulled it off because this has caused a gap between this crimping. Plan is we're going to disc all this off all around here and weld it. It's not the ideal situation. The ideal situation is we'd put a new one on, but for the sake of, 150, 200 quid, well, let's try and
Cheap as that.
try and fix it. Well, I've looked, and an aftermarket one is about 150, 200 quid.
How much is a toy motor one?
Well, a Toyota one you can't get,
Oh, right.
and if you can get, they're a lot of dollar. So, I'm going to disc this off. Hope that there's no other. You don't think there's any other issues under all this heat shield?
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not.
It's that bad, making that much noise. That's the only one I could find.
So we're going to disc this off, weld it up, and hopefully that will solve the problem. Don't get me wrong, this isn't the best way to fix this, but as a temporary fix and as a, I don't know, shot in the dark, we shall see how we go. Dad's trying to get himself a sponsorship with this video. What do you like?
Erbauer angle grinder.
Oh, right, you want an Erbauer angle grinder. We've had Makita Tools, Erbauer angle grinders. Mrs. John Coupland said, I like little Apple turnovers, and she's still not got a sponsorship, so I think you might be lucky to get yourself a Fibok t-shirt.
Erbauer.
In fact, I am actually wearing my Fibok t-shirt today, and it's doing all right in the heat. Good. You're not going to get an Erbauer sponsorship.
Erbauer.
Well, the angle grinding has revealed some more drama. There's a great big crack in it. So that might be causing an issue as well. All this to here. It's where, as I say, I think someone's been a little bit rough with it. We're going to weld this up. This flexi stuff isn't important, but it's been angle grinded off now. Hopefully that is what's causing the exhaust to blow. And there's nothing else further down or further in the car. I say hopefully. I think it is. Especially that crack. Not good. There's a crack here. There's a gap there. There's another crack round there. So it's got a few issues. But don't worry, because Dad's here with his welder. Hopefully that will solve the issue. Will there be more under here? Maybe. We shall soon find out. Welding time.
Try that for a start.
Flashing light warning. If you're light sensitive, skip the next 20 seconds. This might not work because the metal is very thin. I don't think we're going to win any prizes for it being pretty, but it might just be functional. Fingers crossed. There's fingers crossed that temporarily, if anything, solves the problem. Whilst Dad's welding, I've come to be the honorary tea boy. You might think, hang on a minute, John, what's going on in here? You've got your little tea station set up. Well, yeah, because this is the current state of the kitchen. Awaiting a new kitchen. We've got the floor screeded this morning, so it's self-levelling it. It's nearly dry, actually, to be fair, but that's why the tea making station has been moved. You can have ground ginger if you want, or not. Well, Dad's quite embarrassed with the state of this. It's not welded amazingly well, to be honest with you, but it might do the job.
Not pretty.
Not pretty, but nobody's going to look at that, hopefully. It might do the job. At least we'll soon find out when we put a light back down it. That should stop the car temporarily from sounding like a tractor. Moment of truth. Let's go back into the darkness, get the light and shine it on. See if it solved the problem. Still a bit more to do. There's still a gap here. Let's have a look. There it is. Only little though, but there's still a gap, so more welding required. No, Catman! Whilst Dad's continuing to weld that, I'm going to tackle this issue here, which is basically the bumper is hanging off. It's been bumped ever so slightly, and the issue is this peg here on the bumper has been damaged and it's not sitting right. My plan is to undo this screw, put it back into place and screw it back up again. It should be an easy 2-minute fix. So it's not perfect because it's actually broken the bracket on the bumper, plastic bracket there, but I've lined it up and put it back into place with that washer, and actually it's now looking much better than it was. So that bumper is no longer hanging off. Easy 2-minute fix and a big improvement to the car. One of the benefits of working at Mum and Dad's is head chef here, look, has done us some dinner. What you got there? Some drinks as well. We know what we got here. Look, we got some chicken and some flatbread and some ham and don't know what that green stuff is. But yeah, being looked after. Right, welding complete, and it's not pretty, but we've got it to a point where there's no holes in that cat now. I'm going to make no bones about it. That's a bodge, by the way. Ideally, it needs a brand new catalytic converter. How much is one of them? Well, it's between 150 and 200 quid. Why have I bodged that? Well, because there might be some other issues that we might find yet, and I need to spend some cash on. But, although not pretty, if it does the job and diagnoses that there's no other leaks in the exhaust system or rattles or anything like that, then as a bodge, I'm okay with that. I know Dad's not happy with it. He will not sign that job off. But as a temporary fix, to make sure everything's okay, to cover them gaps and them holes, job's a good one. There might, again, still be further issues that we need to address. There might be some more holes underneath these heat shields. I don't suppose we'll know until it's back on the car. So, for full disclosure, that is a massive bodge. Dad, again, is happy that it's to solve an issue, but ideally we'll eventually have a new catalytic converter put on. There's some horrible door protector things on this door which I've ripped off now. Rip that off. Nonsense, rubbish, hate it. Got all this sticky stuff and stuff to remove. Hopefully it's not rotten behind there. White Spirit, rag, elbow grease. Fingers crossed. White Spirit, WD-40, T-cut, job done. And there's really only one suitable place for these. Goodbye. Looking good. Looking good. Dad's under the car here. He's refitting the catalytic converter now. Hello. So that's one job being done. Catalytic converter being put back on. Fingers crossed, solved the blowing. Well, that's it then. So under trays are back on. Catalytic converter is back on. I suppose the next thing to do is turn it on and test it. Make sure it's not still blowing. We'll let's fire up. So sounding much better already, much quieter. Much better. Doesn't sound like a tractor. And actually,
No blows.
no exhaust blowing, which is good news. Not today. Again, temporary fix. But it's solved the problem, and hopefully that's now an MOT Pass. That VVTi revving nicely. Doesn't sound like a tractor, which I'm impressed about. It's not going to go pop, 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 pop. Flames. What's he like? Right, anyway, right, next job. Brakes. Is to look at these brakes, clean them up, free them off. But from an MOT point of view now, Dad's going to give it a once-over, but I think we're okay now. Right, time to tackle this brake, as in just to check the brakes, maybe give them an overhaul, make sure they're not seized. I've taken the bottom bolt out of the caliper, see if we can tilt the caliper up. Right, so disc is free, but it won't come out. This pad has come off, but there is a pad stuck. Which it's a good job we're doing this. It's absolutely stuck solid onto the
In the caliper pad.
yeah, into the carrier. So that's out now. Hooray! So that'll need easing off. It's got the self-adjusting, auto-adjusting calipers. trims have all fallen off as well, but this is a nightmare to get off.
No, it's not a nightmare.
It's a bit of a nuisance. It's awkward.
Awkward. It's not a nightmare.
Caliper's off. Now I need to take the pad carrier off. This has been held in place. I've just attached this with some wire to the spring, and that is keeping that nice and out the way. Pad carrier's off. Discs coming off. There we go. Now we can see. Clean that off. Clean that off. Ease everything off. Wire brush time. On what is probably the hottest day of the year so far, I'm sweating like a 2001 Transit on an MOT ramp. This was a bad idea. Disc. Going to rub up and down on this concoction. Rub it up and down on that sandpaper, that'll do that job. And wire brush everything else. Now to clean the pad carrier, I've taken these out and I'm just filing and cleaning down in here. So that's all the carrier bits clean, these little shims clean, and installed back with brake spray just to keep them in place, and nice and tidy. That is ready to now go back on the car. So the pads are okay, they just need a good clean off. And while we're here, we are draining the brake fluid reservoir. We're going to change the brake fluid. We've got no idea when the brake fluid was last changed. I think it was 2020. So we're going to just put some brake fluid in, just to be on the safe side. Right, time to reassemble the brakes. That's it, brakes are back together. Just got to bleed them now. Well, I'm a bit filthy now. We've got two. We've got both the rear brakes sorted out. And the wheel on this one, I've taken that horrible locking wheel nut off, and now that runs lovely. And we've even managed to remove those horrible caps that were stuck on. Got a new method of those: heat gun and impact driver. This one I'm still working on, but we're getting there. Battery's on charge with probably the world's oldest battery charger. In fact, well, it is charging, I can hear it, but it's not showing anything on there, so that's bad news. We shall see. Quick job we've just done. The fuel filler cap did not open, which probably explains why the car is nearly out of petrol. So Dad pulled the lever, I managed to pry the flap open, and actually it was bent, so the release wasn't releasing in the gap. So we've bent the fuel filler cap a little bit up, I don't know, 10 degrees, maybe, like that, and now it works. Everything's back together. Made sure that we have copper slipped everything that needed to be. Don't put it on the brake discs and on the pads, but on all the shims, bolts, nuts, caliper workings, all good. Next thing is to put the wheel back on, drop it on the deck, and torque the wheels. Car's on the deck. Pretty much it for the day. We've been working all day. It's still beautiful. It's absolutely scorching. Last thing is to torque the wheel nuts, and then get it all tidied up. We've got the smart charger on the battery now, 13.4. Seeing if we can recover that battery, but I'm not hopeful, to be honest with you. And that will be it for day one of pre-MOT work on the MR2. So we've still got to tackle the front brakes, but can you see this horrible rusty old locking wheel nut tool? Well, I've taken the rear two off because who's going to steal the alloys nowadays? It's not really a thing, is it? And the car's not going to be left somewhere where the alloy wheels can be stolen. So I'm going to take those off and put just normal wheel nuts on. And we have been removing the worst things in the world, those metal accessories. In fact, we've got a new way of doing it, and I'll show you. Fingers crossed that this works. It's worked on all the other three. The way we're doing it is, hang on a minute, I'm explaining. We're heating up the cap with the heat gun, putting a set of pliers on it, and then with a 10mm socket on an impact wrench, it's pretty much doing the job. Dad is hankering after a sponsorship deal. So if anyone's watching and wants to sponsor Dad
I like Makita.
with tools, food, t-shirts, because clearly you can't afford one, then get in contact, because Dad is hankering after a sponsorship deal. Right, where's the pliers? They'll be on the bench, I think. Oh, he's put them away. Goodness me. Fingers crossed this works. If you've not watched the video on the channel from the Audi TT that we bought from Mrs. John Coupland, we had to cut these off and they were a nightmare. As I say, fingers crossed our new way of doing it is going to work for you on video. 10mm socket, pair of pliers, and it brings it straight off.
Busted that one.
But we've broken the
Rubber.
the rubber. I'm not going to panic about that. We haven't broken the valve. We've just damaged the rubber on the valve, but you're never going to see it.
I've marked that wheel, yeah.
And we're going to not worry about that. So that's a try it first before you get your Dremel out situation with regards to removing these
Just fix the top off a bit.
wheel
Oh,
nuts.
it's hot.
Oh, that is hot. That was hot. But I'm going to put the others where they belong. So these are the ones. These metal, horrible wheel caps. You don't want these for any reason, do you?
Yes, we'll put them on my listen note.
Yes. I'm going to put them where they belong, and you can guess where they're going. Goodbye. Horrible old locking wheel nuts gone. That's the new one, clearly. I've not cleaned any of this yet, but I must admit I've kept the old locking wheel nuts just in case. But yeah, that's that done. Right, it's going to be tidy up then, and that'll be it for this day and this video. We've achieved a lot, haven't we? We've fixed the cat. We've fixed the exhaust blowing. We've done all the back brakes. We've bled the brake system. I've taken those horrible door bumper things off and just had a genuine tidy up of the car. Things left to do before MOT. We've got to check the lights. We've got to check the tyre pressures. We're going to clean all the interior. Make sure that the battery's okay. Fill it full of fuel. But at the moment, we've not found anything, in my opinion, too nasty. Who knows what the front brakes will show us, but I'm quietly confident everything should be okay. It's been a long one, but if you've enjoyed the video, let me know in the comments below. Thumbs up if you haven't already done so, thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do, because it really does help, and you will get notified of any new content that we upload. Stuff coming every Wednesday, every Saturday, shorts in between. Have a great day, whatever you're getting up to. Take care. From a beautiful, scorching day in Lincoln, the most hot day in Lincolnshire, and you can see I am, you know, I'm filthy. Take care. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.